Hi guys and welcome back to the channel Held Dominance. Anthony here. Please remember to like and subscribe and also click that notification bell if you're enjoying what you're seeing and if you want to see more. Coming up in this episode, the Betfred Challenge Cup Round 1 concludes with an absolute belter of a game. 3 Super League clubs face lower league opposition in friendlies, and history made as Salford women launched their first team. So as it's pre-season, we get to see some games that normally wouldn't happen because the teams that are playing against each other are either Super League or lower division. And this week it wasn't the case. It was the case also because there was a friendly played at Post Office Road, Featherstone, as Featherstone Rovers hosted Leeds Rhinos. These two have a connection as they have the dual registration rules agreement, that's the best way to put it, in place for the 2022 season. A near full strength side for Leeds ran in 3 tries to take in an 18 points to 6 half-time lead, playing up the slope at Post Office Road, before a fringe team were outscored 16 points to 12 in the second period. On attack, Leeds, the scorers are not too bothered about, but on the attack, Leeds' first half team played some good rugby, creating numerous chances, but you can see a lack of match practice showed in some of the execution. Standoff Blake Austin got himself into space a couple of times, providing the final pass for the Rhinos' third try, and Aidan Caesar controlled things well for the side. But it looks like Richie Myler is still an influence in the team on attack and made some outstanding last-ditch tackles as well. Most importantly, the Leeds big guns got 40 minutes of game time under their belt on the pitch. It was a heavy pitch as well, against good oppositions who are pushing for promotion to the top flight at the end of the year. So, the second half team though was a very young, especially in the backs, but rich in potential. So, here are the sides for the 2 halves for Leeds Rhinos. As you can see, Jack Broadbent and Liam Tyndall played both sides of the half, with Muiz Mustafa coming on a little bit later on to get some game time. It's an inclination of where the Leeds Rhinos currently sit and who's going to be involved in the squad. I've got a feeling that that first 13 on the left hand side is more than likely the starting lineups for the Leeds Rhinos when Super League comes around. But there's also a couple of players that have not been shown during this game. For instance, Jack Walker wasn't involved due to the time being a bit too early for the young fullback, and also David Fusitua was sat out the pre-season clash as he's a little bit behind the rest of the squad. On the other side of the coin, Brian McDermott said that he thinks that they got quite a lot out of the game, and they thought that there's some areas that they were a bit rusty, but were also involved in some good passages of play, especially defensively. So what he also said was, we remain competitive throughout. You've got a list of things you need to tick off when you come to a pre-season game. We pretty much tick them all, especially to remain competitive against the Leeds Rhinos first team. I actually thought they were brought on their younger fellas in the second half. It would expose us a little. We have a bit to work on. And he also conceded they were a bit rusty, a bit clunky with the ball, especially so today, and they'll look to sharpen up for the next friendly that comes along. On the second friendly that we're going to talk about, a very, very young Hull side faced Bradford Bulls at Odsal, but unfortunately they came to a shuttering stop, unfortunately, considering that the result was 42 points to 18 in this pre-season friendly. The Black and Whites had just 4 players over the age of 21 in the side, as Brett Hodgson was keen to get a glimpse of the next generation. Callum Rutland scored twice on the day and Brad Fash also touched down, but they were well beaten by John Keir's side at Odsal. Reg Hodgson was also prioritising the performance over the result, and for the most part he would have been pleased with the efforts of his side in West Yorkshire, as most of the youngsters had no previous first team experience but held their own against the championship promotion hopefuls and did themselves no harm at all during the game. Other than Fash, the 2 other players that were over 21 were Liggy Sout and Jordan Johnston, who were included in the side, but like I said, it was nothing more than a under 23 side, to put it in some context if you're a soccer fan. Here are the 2 teams. As you can see from the Hull side, first of all, being the away side, there are very few and very little names that you can recall from playing last season, and are mostly developmental players. But the likes of Cam Scott, Brad Fash, Johnson and South, as well as David Litton, I think, have been involved in the first team squad over the last year. So it is kind of a run-in for the rest of the squad. Don't get me wrong, Bradford are not without their troubles either, as Jordan Lilly has done his PCL in training 1 day before a friendly with the Brackley Bulldogs previously. So it's kind of a needs must for Hull to get this friendly on board, as again, I think it's a dual registration game as well. Despite the result, Hull coach Brett Hodgson was enthusiastic about a few things after the game, as a number of players impressed in challenging conditions in West Yorkshire. I'm pleased with what was there, Hodgson told Hull Live after the game. I thought we got some young players playing in an environment against hardened men, professionals that have been around the game for a long time, and we saw some good signs. I didn't expect that we would win the game based on the squad we sent here. It's not about the result today. It's about some younger boys in our system getting the chance to represent their team at a good level. We didn't put so much emphasis on the win or loss here. It was about the boys getting the experience. And I'm really proud of the 4 senior boys that stood up. Liggy, Cam Scott, Fashy and JJ. They want to play and help these young players, which we needed, and I'm pleased with the effort. Of the youngsters, he did say that young Callum Rutland stood out as one of the players. He thought he was very good and saw some good glimpses from David Litton. And also he thought Charlie Seavers on the right edge was good as well. And he did plenty of work, and he found it a little bit tough in the middle part of the first half, as they were put under pressure by an experienced Bradford side. But on the flip side, there was supposed to be a 5th person involved from the first team squad this game yesterday, as Jamie Shaw was supposed to be involved. He said of Shaw, "He rolled his ankle yesterday in our captain's run," Hodgson confirmed. "I'm really disappointed for Jamie. He was keen to play, so hopefully it's not too bad." On an eye-catching display, it was Declan Patton that stood out for the Bradford Bulls, and his coach John Keir made no bones about the way that Deck stood up to the test, as he made all 6 conversion attempts, including 2 from tight to the left touchline, and his kicking from the hand was impressive too, as he continually pinned the visitors deep in their own territory. There was also some eye-catching passes as well, and Keogh could be mightily impressed from what he saw from the former Warrington man. Speaking after the victory, John Keir said about Declan Patton, he is a very clever player and insightful, and it's really enjoyable to work with him. He's been at a quality club in Warrington and got a considerable amount of first-team football there. It's great to draw on that experience for the other players and for us as a coaching staff. I think he's enjoyed it here, and he's enjoying it here. I'm certainly enjoying him being part of our club, and it bodes well for the future. Keir also rated his side's performance 7 out of 10, as there were still things to work on, and they're early in their pre-season with a few more games to come before they hit up for the first game of the season. So as you see here, there is a result over my shoulder of Bentley 16, Stanley 22, and Stanley go through to the second round of the Challenge Cup with this win. And it was a tough-it-out victory for Stanley in the mud at Bentley, because even though the conditions were atrocious on the field, there was so much heart between the two teams. It's all started from the kickoff, to be honest, as Bentley were forced into touch straight from the kickoff on the right hand side, looking at it as Stanley were attacking, and they forced out their winger into touch, and it showed that the effort and the commitment was there. This ultimately led to Selby on the wing scoring the first try of the game, which was followed up by Powell's try for Bentley. And I think it was Jordan Seaman who scored the next try, and that was for Bentley to put them 10 points to 6 ahead. And then it was Bridgman Rennie, I think his name was Bridgman Rennie, who scored over on the wing for his first try and on his debut. And it was left to Selby to get an interception try on the right wing, deep in his own half, and he raced the length of the field to score right to the posts. It was then almost done and dusted for the game as it was coming to the end, and didn't know how long was left, and one of the Craswell brothers kicked to the other for the try, as it was Ryan Craswell who went over for the final score of the game, and that finished off the match as the full-time whistle went as the conversion was completed, and Stanley go through to the next round. They now go on to facing Hunslet Club Parkside at the Parkside Club's home base in the second round, and the ties will be agreed between the 29th and 30th of January. And we'll look to see who will go through to the third round and face one of the bigger teams, or even maybe get an easier route, as they might be drawn with one of the other non-league teams that have been put through. It'll be great for them, as they'll be getting closer and closer to facing Super League opposition. There was also a friendly game as well played this weekend between Salford and Swinton, as Salford went through the motions, and also their team effort to produce a 48 points to 12 victory at the AJ Bell Stadium. It saw tries for Brodie Croft, Ryan Brierley, Cross, Kensio, Ackers, Costello, Wright and Williams put Salford beyond the doubt of who's going to win, with goals from Mark Sneed and Chris Atkin, where there was tries for Butts and Hope for Swinton, as well as 2 kick conversions for Hansen. It was a 26-0 lead at the half-time, but it seemed like both teams decided to make all the changes that they could, and they both came out swinging, which was a great effort for both teams. Salford is still going through their preparation for 2022, and this is a good step to stretch out. Salford's latest recruit, Brodie Croft, came in for some good positive feedback from teammates, as Ryan Brierley was one that spoke up. The 24-year-old impressed on his unofficial Salford Red Devils debut, and Brierley said that Brodie is still a young kid and he sees himself looking up to him, but he's a kid. When you're asking questions, I'm like, I don't know the answer. It's been really good. He also added, I'm a rugby nerd, so I read a lot of stuff you guys put out, and not so much you guys, but the NRL journalists absolutely battered him. I know you guys are not like that, so that's why I want to really embrace that. I think he deserves that. He's over here with his young family, and he's got all the attributes for being one of the best players in the league. If we all jump around him and give him a bit of a cuddle, I think he'll see him light up Super League, and that'll be nice. He's got all the attributes to really kick on, and we're really lucky to have him. Maybe a bold statement by Brierley, but he came out to say that what he said has got a bit of traction, and he's got a little bit of evidence to prove it. I said to Brodie the other day that it's not just Brodie you learn from. You'll learn from those who Brodie has learned from. You're talking Cameron Smith, Cooper Cronk, Billy Slater. So when Brodie tells me Billy Slater recommends this, then you're going to listen, aren't you? It is not just Brodie and Sneedy. It's the players they've played with, and that's what they've learned throughout their careers. It was a double-header at the AJ Bell Stadium. Again, it was Salford against Swinton Lions, but this time it was the women's teams that were involved. Salford Red Devils breezed past Swinton Lionesses this afternoon in what was the team's first ever rugby league match for the women's side, with Vanessa Hadley putting herself in the record books as the first woman to score a try for Salford women, powering over down the right in the 11th minute to give her side the lead. Salford Sam Boys bundled over the line in the 25th minute. Her strength proved too much to handle for the defence of Swinton Lionesses, and the visitors scored their only try of the game in the 46th minute, with Chloe Burkitt going over on the right hand side, and with Salford then going over for 3 tries in the next 10 minutes, with Lauren Ellison, Abby Collins and captain Louise Fellingham all getting themselves on the score sheet. Demi Jones became the first woman to score a conversion for Salford following Collins' try. Casey Naylor scored the last try of the game shortly before the final hooter, powering over under the sticks to top what was an outstanding performance from the Salford women on their debut hit-out. And that's it for another episode of Hell Dominance. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like, subscribe, and also click that notification bell for any updates or any new videos that'll be coming your way in the near future. Tell me what your thoughts are on all the 4 games that we covered today. Well, 5 really. Are you excited for the next round of the Challenge Cup? Again, are you going visiting one of the community clubs to give them the support that these clubs truly need? What about the chances of Hull, Salford, and also Leeds during the season? Do you have any comments on those and trying to find out where they're going to finish in Super League? Or information on their opponents, Featherstone Rovers, Bradford Bulls or Swinton Lions? Swinton are one of the favourites in League One to go up, so it'll be interesting to see what they do, but the two others are definitely favourites for the Championship to come up to Super League. And finally, a historic day for the Salford women and facing a local rival team, so they probably all know each other as well. That's how close it is. It's an interesting state of affairs, but well done for Salford to getting that game off the ground. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. Please remember to share this video worldwide and tag people in. Get them to subscribe. We're growing the game here. More words from me to get the words out to you. Helps Rugby League, I feel. But that's it for me from today's video. I will say all the best, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one.